Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel here on YouTube. Today we have a video update on the Coast Guard and the rescue efforts. As of Tuesday, at least 103 people have reported being killed by the hurricane in Florida, 55 of them in Lee County. Ian also claimed the lives of 5 people in North Carolina. The storm slammed into Florida as a furious Category 4 hurricane a week ago Wednesday. Days later, some of the residents of island communities are still cut off and without power. Many are homeless. Out of this devastation, we have some videos and some good news for many stranded people left on some of the barrier islands. We even have a video of some on boats stranded in the mangroves. The United States Coast Guard is using helicopters to rescue people and animals, taking them to shelters where they will have fresh food, water, a bed, and needed medical attention if needed. I am proud to say that the state park, Lake Kissimmee State Park, where Danny and I both work, put a capable crew together. They left on Wednesday hauling lots of heavy equipment, manpower to help in the relief efforts. May God speed in the recovery efforts in Southwest Florida. Enjoy the new news video from our very own news channel, World Freedom and Earth Care News. Thank you.
First responders in Florida have rescued more than 700 people, and they are still working tonight. A Coast Guard crew from Cape Cod is part of that life-saving mission. WBZ's Julie McDonald picks up our team coverage now with that part of the story in studio. Julie?
Well, Lisa, the team consists of 2 pilots, a flight mechanic, and a rescue swimmer. I'm told that one of the 4 has already split off to work with a crew from elsewhere. That's a testament to the Coast Guard's high level of training and their consistent standards. Without any knowledge of the region or even street signs or mailbox numbers to guide them, a highly trained Cape Cod Coast Guard crew is flying search and rescue missions in parts of Florida devastated by Hurricane Ian.
If we have the ability to land nearby, whether it's a soccer field or a park or even the street, if the crew deems it wide enough and large enough, they'll land the aircraft and then they'll send the rescue swimmer and or the flight mechanic out to then engage with those individuals, assess the level of medical care that is required.
If unable to safely land, that rescue swimmer is hoisted down to retrieve stranded patients by basket stretcher.
You can show up to anywhere in the country, meet any Coast Guard crews. You've never met them before, but you can all jump into the helicopter, work seamlessly to execute these rescues.
Air Station Cape Cod has heard few updates from the team since their Tuesday arrival, signaling the significant demand for help.
The Coast Guard's going to be there as an organization for as long as we need to be there to see the mission through.
And in addition to these Coast Guard efforts, the Pentagon has more than 1,200 vehicles and 25 aircraft supporting the search and rescue operation.
It is a race right now to get to the people who really do need that help. As the water starts to recede, rescue crews are out there. They are searching for survivors. We're joined now by Rear Admiral Brendan McPherson. He's with the U.S. Coast Guard. Rear Admiral, thank you so much for being with us. You know, we hear about these challenges getting to these areas like Fort Myers Beach, San Carlos Island. What is your plan to get to those people who so desperately need that help?
Yeah, good evening, Cole. And as Brian just indicated, it's really a devastating environment out there, and a very dangerous one at that. Rescuers are having trouble accessing the area. But I can tell you that we've had Coast Guard helicopters flying in the area all day. We were able to safely rescue 56 people who needed assistance. And we're going to continue doing that as long as we can.
56 rescues certainly makes such a big deal. How critical are these first few days after a major disaster like this?
Yeah, it's incredibly critical. We want to get our first responders there as quickly as we can. And it's Coast Guards here. We're alongside with the Florida National Guard, the FEMA urban search and rescue teams, and the local responders as well. We have a very well-organized plan. We have very highly trained, well-equipped rescuers. And I've talked to some of our rescue swimmers that were flying out there today and on the ground. And while the challenges are difficult, they're well-trained and they're prepared to do this, and they're going to keep doing it as long as we need to.
Well, Rear Admiral, we've seen entire infrastructure, the Sanibel Causeway collapsing. We know parts of the Florida Turnpike collapsed. What other major damages out there that maybe we in the media don't know, but the experts like yourself, what other damage is out there? How catastrophic could this really turn out to be?
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see, but we know from early indications that, the water that came in from the surge, some of it has receded, and that's good news, especially on the barrier islands. But in other areas further inland, we're finding that there's a lot of standing water, several feet in some cases. In fact, the Coast Guard, we're certainly well accustomed to doing Coast Guard coastal search and rescue. We were inland this time, even 20, 30 miles inland, rescuing people, pulling them off roofs in areas where water shouldn't be. So it's a challenging situation. We recognize it's difficult for the people that are suffering through this, that are impacted by this, but we're committed to doing everything we can to save lives.
Yeah, and we were just taking a look at that causeway right there that is just gone. Rear Admiral, there are people who are trapped. Many of those people obviously are cut off from communication, but maybe they have some way of staying in touch. What do you say to those people? What is the best practices? What's the best thing for them to do as they wait?
Yeah, first and foremost, if they're in a safe location but they need assistance, stay where they're at. We'll come find you. There's help on the way. If you need assistance and you have access to a phone, call 911. Using social media to ask for help is not the best method. We really encourage people to use 911 and keep up hope. We are all committed. We are going to do everything we can to save lives and help people get back to recovery. Let me just add one other thing. We're certainly focused on saving lives, but we're also focused on reopening our ports. As the Coast Guard, we understand how important those ports are to the safety and security and prosperity of the region and to leading to recovery. So we are working very hard to reopen ports as quickly as we can. We expect the port of Tampa Bay to be open as early as tomorrow afternoon. Wow. That's incredibly quick given the scope and scale of this devastation.
Well, and speaking of the scope and scale, sir, I know you've been with the Coast Guard for years. How does this compare from what you've seen so far with other devastating storms like Katrina and Rita?
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been personally involved in many hurricanes, including Andrew and Katrina. And I'd have to say this is on the scale of something similar to that. I'm hopeful that we won't have a significant loss of life, but we need to prepare ourselves for that. And we will recover from this. I want people to be hopeful that we will recover. But the next few days probably going to be very difficult, but we're committed to doing everything we can.
Rear Admiral McPherson, we thank you so much for your time, sir, and your hard work.
Right. It is a story of gratitude, Jen. And death in that moment crossed David Littlefield's mind. Thanks to the Coast Guard, he is safe and alive. This is 67-year-old David Littlefield's 44-foot boat, listed on its side and mostly submerged.
These guys rock, and they deserve all the recognition that you can give them.
Littlefield was headed south on his boat near Pine Island South in an attempt to outrun Hurricane Ian.
The wind and the waves rolled the boat 90 degrees onto its starboard side. Water started to come in,
violently throwing Littlefield. That's when he knew he was in trouble. Littlefield put on his life jacket, sent out a mayday, and activated his EPIRB.
Don't panic! And so that's the big thing. You got to keep a level head. Rely on life experience, training, and then just hope for the best.
After 12 hours outside on his deck in hurricane-force winds, Littlefield finally heard the sound of a Coast Guard chopper overhead.
Seeing him again and knowing that he's safe, it's great. It really is. It's a good feeling.
Petty Officer 2nd Class Jethro Hauser was in the water to help hoist Littlefield up.
He grabbed me and, the first words out of his mouth were thank you.
In total so far, the Coast Guard says it's rescued 750 people as well as 100 pets. Reporting live this evening in Clearwater, Brittany Muller, 8 on your side.
was Andrew Wick's point of view during Hurricane Ian. He rode out the storm on his boat docked at a Fort Myers marina.
That's my boat right there.
This is your boat.
That's my boat as it was sinking.
Andrew says he regretted his decision to stay almost immediately, but at that point, it was too late.
The storm was looking like it was going to hit Sarasota or Tampa.
When winds started picking up, he had to think fast.
My boat started going down, so I jumped. I couldn't jump left. I had to jump straight back onto the dock and ran as far as I could to the first boat on the dock.
He ran to another boat closer to the marina.
That was the farthest I could get before jumping in the water.
We've made it to the Fort Myers marina where Andrew's boat was docked and where he rode out the storm. We haven't been able to find his boat, but we found these. You'll see that they are shoved up on the concrete and just the damage that is here at this marina. And look at the floating docks. Those are shoved up as well. Andrew was able to make contact with his girlfriend shortly before losing service.
The last moment I got to talk to my girlfriend was as the boat started to sink.
He would ride out the storm on it for close to 12 hours. At any point, did you think you were going to die, drown?
Yeah, absolutely. I was on the phone with somebody when it was starting to get bad on my boat, and when the buzzer started going, you know, I didn't think I'd ever talk to them again.
The next morning, he helped another man to safety who survived on a sailboat. At daybreak, they found the boats at the marina destroyed, all thankful to be alive. Bridget Matter, Local 10 News.